there is that embarrassing sweat smell you usually get, maybe every now and then, or maybe at particular times of the day, or maybe after taking shower just a few minutes. It's chronically there. You always have that. We're going to look at some of the things that you can do to fix that temporarily or maybe permanently. And we're going to start off with the simpler one, going to a little bit more advanced ones. But we need to start with the simpler one so that, you know, sometimes it can be it's easy. You just need to do just a little thing and then it goes. Or maybe you include something in your routines. Now, we know by now, and I actually mentioned this in a video, we have two glands. We have eccrine and we have apocrine. Eccrine, homeostasis. It deals with temperature. You have high temperature, you start sweating, and they're the majority. They cover almost everywhere in the body. But when it comes to apocrine, they're not everywhere. There are some strategic areas like under your armpits, and that's why you usually get that sweat that is smelling from your armpits. And also the groin area, so in between your legs, that's where you get that smell because you have apocrine there. Now, what usually happens is they're instructed to produce that sweat, and that sweat can be triggered by several things like we have it can also be triggered by you acting, maybe your temperature is a little bit high, so in addition to your eccrine being activated, your apocrine can also be activated, also being anxious, or maybe there's several things. I'm going to try to list them here. Now, once you produce the sweat that comes from apocrine, it comes with other things like we have the proteins. And now we're interested in the proteins because they're going to be broken down by the bacteria on the surface of your skin. Those bacteria will break down those proteins, and this is where you are now going to get that smell. The smell is not coming from your body. It's coming from the surface of your body because you have the bacteria breaking down the protein that you're producing in that sweat, and that's why you're getting the gas that comes from that interaction between that sweat and the bacteria. So the byproduct of that is the gas that you're now going to smell. So that's how you usually get that smell. Some of the simple remedies is just regular shower, because I'm sure you have people who usually get the smell because they've not showered. So if you increase the number of times you shower in a day, you can as well get rid of now the byproducts and also the sweat on your skin, and get to reduce some of the bacteria that you have under your armpits. That's why you're going to get rid of this. Now, how many times you should shower in a day? That one is not like, I'm not going to give you a fixed answer because it depends with the occupation and body types and the types of the skin that you have. For those who are working in jobs that require you to be dirty all the time, you might want to shower several times in a day. Or maybe if you are doing a lot of work, or maybe you are running, you are sweating every now and then, so you need to increase the number of times you shower in a day to reduce the waste that you have on your skin from the sweat. Now, if for example you are just sitting in an office, I don't think that should be. You should not shower so many times because you are going to also expose your skin to other things like drying off. You remember we're talking about the sebaceous gland that usually produce something that we call sebum, which is the oil that usually comes to the surface of your skin to lubricate your skin and make it look supple. So it's the work of that. So if you keep every now and then, you are just removing that, doesn't actually do good to your skin. Now, that is about regular washing. Regular washings, it will depend on the person, but in case maybe you find that after staying for long without showering, that's when you start smelling. Of course, it should be by default. You should increase the amount or the number of times you usually shower in a day. The second one, which is something that I've had an experience with, a personal experience with, is just changing your soap. I noted that there is a specific brand that I was using then, and every time I use that soap, I actually didn't last long before I started just smelling every now and then. I don't know the motive, I don't know the formula, I don't understand that. But once I switched to another brand of soap, and for this I'm not being paid by anyone to advertise this, but I started using this one. I'm sure it's you are familiar with this one. They are not paying me, but I decided to switch to this one. Okay, it's not actually that expensive, but the good thing about this one, it lasts for really long. So you can just buy a pack of maybe 3 and they can take you through several months. Okay, I don't know. That's subjective. Now, once I switched to this one, the whole thing just disappeared. So one thing I would advise you to maybe change the soap that you're using. Try to use something. For me, I can recommend this one because I've used it personally. If you are using maybe something different, or maybe you know something else that works, you can tell us in the comment region. I would really want to hear maybe some more alternatives, but I would recommend this. Just change everything and start using this. Okay, the results will not be like just that day. They're going to take several days, because for me it took a month of using this soap for the whole thing now to go back to normal, because I usually don't get those smelly sweat. I don't have that issue. So this was something that was able to fix that within some few days, some few months. Now, like I said, this is not an advertisement. It's something that I use and it serves me good. But in case they decide to sponsor maybe a video or two, we are so happy. Maybe you can tag them, or maybe you can tell them that maybe we need their money. Now, the second thing that I see people using is baking soda. They create a paste, and then that paste they apply under their armpits, and this will help them, and it works in several ways. Okay, not several, just only one. What you know, and by now we understand that what you're having there is bacterial activity. Now, what if you just change the pH of that area? What will happen? The bacteria will not tolerate, or they are not going to stay there, because the habitat is already disrupted. So, and also the chemical activities will be disrupted by the change of pH. That's how you're going to fix that smell temporarily. The same thing happens when you use something like lemon. Now, this lemon, you know, it's acidic, and actually this is something I should recommend in case you want to fix, to have that like an instant change of that smell. Just go get some lemons and then cut them into two, just squeeze out the water and apply in your or on your armpit. Once you do that, it'll do exactly the same case, or the same thing that will happen to when you use the soda, the baking soda. It's going to disrupt the pH. It's going to make it acidic. One, bacteria will not survive there. Second, it's going to disrupt the activities of that bacteria because of the pH. So most of the chemical reactions won't happen if the condition is not optimal. One of which is what we are talking about here, changing the pH by using that lemon. It can happen to other acids, but lemon is more friendlier to your skin. You can use another acid where you end up burning your skin. So lemon is something a little bit good and more natural. You can use that every time because it works, and I've tried that and it worked. When I was having that issue, I used to use lemon. And the other thing that I'm going to mention in the next point, which is alcohol. Do you see the one, like the one that we are using to sanitize our hands? That one works a lot better. So what you do, and actually this fixes that issue within some few minutes. So what you do, you just apply on your, if it's the gel that contains that alcohol, just apply it on your palm, and then you rub it under your armpits, and that thing will be fixed. But then it's going to come back later, because now you still, it's kind of like what do you say, inhibition. It's just inhibiting the activities and the bacteria, but once the effect of the alcohol goes, it will come back. But this is a really good temporary fix. Maybe in an office and you feel that your armpits are smelling, just grab that one and then apply under your armpits, and it's going to work. Another thing that you can do is using cosmetic products to either block the production of that sweat or to mask the smell of that sweat. Now, the first thing, which is now the blocking of production, is using antiperspirant. Antiperspirant will contain aluminum, which will go and block the production of the sweat, so you're not going to produce the sweat. For the deodorants, they are going to have a very nice scent, and this scent will mask the smell of that. So it's not going to interrupt or to interfere with the production of the sweat. The sweat will be there, but the smell will be masked by the deodorant scent. Now, we have something like this one, which is, this is antiperspirant. It's very, I'm sure you know this. You've come across this, Nivea for Men. So this one is an antiperspirant. It contains several things, among them aluminum. So this is an antiperspirant. And also I can see, oh, it's not a deodorant. So to recommend this one, I'm sure people are going to say that aluminum is going to be toxic to you. Yes, it can be in very, very high doses. Remember, we have cofactors in the body that are made up of aluminum, meaning that they are required in some processes in the body. So aluminum is supposed to be in a certain level, Excess, very high amount of aluminium is the one that will be poisonous, but not the tiny amount. Like for example, you see the one that you usually use, the utensils you use, most of them are usually made up of aluminium, and it leaks into your food and you eat that, your body gets rid of most of that, so you don't have to worry much about that. So I would recommend this. Still, this is not an advert. I love this product. Actually, it goes for how many? 48 hours. I use this most of the time when I'm not planning. Okay, if you know, you know. Most of the time when you're not planning to shower, or maybe you've been in several shifts and you are scared of taking a shower, you can just grab this and use that. Anyway, you can just go and shower, but it can work. It can be handy, so you just need to put it somewhere you can be able to access in case maybe you're not planning to shower. Now there's another one which is this one is very medical. You'll have to see someone specialized in this area for them to do this. There's something that we call Botox. Now Botox is something that do you see there's a bacteria that we call botulinum. This one usually causes food poisoning, and it usually produces toxins that usually affect the nerves. So what they're going to do is they're going to get that toxin from that bacteria, and they're going to inject into the nerves that usually serves the area where you sweat, where you have apocrine glands, like under your armpits. Now, after doing that, this is going to block the action of the nerves. So even if it's stimulated, it's not going to prompt the glands to produce that sweat. So you're not going to sweat. So this is Botox. It can be used in so many other therapies, but this is one of which can be used here. Now, you'll have to understand that this is something that you'll have to do like it gives you a very good time for you when you're not sweating. It goes for like a year or two, but then you'll have to come back because the effects usually wear off with time. So yeah, you can use any of the 7 that I've mentioned. They work, they do work, but you need to start with the simpler one, going to the more complicated one, so that you narrow down to the ones that are chronic, or the ones that have something underlying. If you have a straightforward smelly armpit or maybe the groin area, you're going to fix them using any of the ones that we have mentioned. Now, if you gain value from this video, I would really love if you liked the video and also share it out, and make sure you subscribe, because I've seen I have like 70% of people who are watching my videos and not subscribed. Be a member, because I'm not going to tell you this today. I'll tell you in the next video. See you in the next video.